It's For Your Money Wednesday, and it's that time of the year that many couples start taking their relationships to a more committed level.
So Valentine's Day was yesterday, so most couples probably talked about love, but for long-term relationships, experts say, a discussion about money is critical. We've got Andy Mattingly with Forum Credit Union here with some money advice for couples. So why are financial matters so important to discuss early on, even though you may not want to?
Well, marriages and relationships, the number one reason still that they break up is because of money issues, either stress in the marriage or they can't get along with what they do with money. So it's still extremely important.
So then when should a couple start talking about financial matters?
Well, probably on the first date, you shouldn't go with asking what their credit score is, but you should start looking at some of their habits to make sure that they don't cause you problems, that maybe they don't pay their bills on time or something. You got to make sure that you can get along with that.
If you're starting to become more serious, do you want to take on more topics at that point? Kind of get into it gradually?
Kind of the next topic to talk about is just find out if, do they live on a budget? Mm-hmm. And do they, how much debt do they think is too much? Those are easy topics to kind of start talking to someone to see if you can kind of agree on things like that.
So could you identify some of the big reasons why couples struggle that relate to their finances?
Yeah, probably one of the biggest reasons is that everybody has their own money personality, and maybe we're brought up differently. So maybe one person thinks if you spend over $100, we need to talk about it, and another person thinks, hey, I can spend up to $1,000 and we don't need to talk about it. And a lot of times that's the root of the issue of they don't talk about, what should we talk about?
Your red flags may differ.
Exactly.
Do you find that financial compatibility leads to relationship compatibility?
No, it doesn't have to. I mean, a lot of polar opposites attract, and a lot of times that's good. Some people need to spend a little more, and some people need to spend a little less, and if they work together, they can sometimes have a much better relationship than people that are exactly alike.
Okay.
And we hear advice all the time about long-term financial planning. Talk more about why that's so important for couples to do that.
Well, it's important so that they understand where they want to go in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s, and if you put that roadmap together, it makes everyday decisions a lot easier. You don't have to fight over where you're going on vacation because the cost of the vacation is already decided because of the other financial things that you want to do. So you help everyday decisions be a lot easier because you have this big plan.
Should you expect those goals to change over time? Personally,
yes.
or as a couple?
Yes, and sometimes that's what happens in a relationship. They have all these goals when they're 20 and someone has a different idea of when they're in their 40s what they want to do and they haven't talked about it. So you should know that those goals and plans are going to change and you should always be talking about those.
All right, so how do we avoid the money fights? What kind of advice do you have for couples dealing with that?
I think the biggest thing is they have to make sure is that when they make decisions, it's not one person wins and one person loses. You're supposed to be making decisions that's good for both financially and emotionally, and whenever you make that decision, it's a point for the team, not a point for an individual.
Probably works across the board in marriages.
Exactly.
All right, Andy.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.